Hello, welcome to your March forecast, also called the March podcast, because sometimes it's just in audio form, but right now I'm tending to do it in video form because that's just what's coming to me. I'm Tamara, by the way, Tamara Childs. So March, we are knee deep still in our Mercury retrograde, and that is not going to complete the retrograde until I think the 9th. Look that up here. So we are still in this sort of, I think of it as like swampland. We're in this murky, watery, underwater, trying to feel things out, think things through. I'm curious what your Mercury retrograde stories have been. See, I just remembered just the second that I didn't plug in my microphone, but it's just going to have to be that way. So there we go, Mercury retrograde. One thing that's happened in my life is I lost something an object that really meant a lot to me, and I've misplaced it. That often happens during Mercury retrograde. And sometimes it resolves when Mercury goes direct, but it's like part of what I ask myself is, how could I be so careless? Or I feel like I must have been asleep. How did I misplace this thing? What's happening in your life? Another thing that is happening, and this I did not do, but we have had so much water. We have had, where I live, the ski mountain has had 8 feet of snow in this last month in February. And so down in the town, we've had, I don't even know, at least 5 feet of snow. And so the snow has accumulated on my roof, and it's forming these ice dams. And I'm not the only person. This is just happening. And so, there's this weight of water on my roof, frozen water. And I'm just sort of anxiously waiting for it to drip down. And it comes off in big, huge, thunderous chunks. And so that's interesting. And it really reminds me that sometimes, like with things that are stuck or frozen in place, things that we're trying to figure out in our lives and it's just not resolving, that we have to be patient. Like sometimes, there's an accumulation. Things have accumulated over time. Sometimes water represents emotions, and sometimes we accumulate resentments or grudges or feelings that just are not easy to resolve. It's not easy to have those conversations. Things that just sort of circulate, and we mull them around, and what's the word? It's like we're chewing on them emotionally, and that things sometimes take their own time. Like with these ice dams. To some degree, I just have to wait for the weather to change and hope my roof will hold up, and just let that water drip it away. So I'm just curious whether you've been able to slow down as Mercury retrograde suggests, and it's put a lot of us into reflection mode, because that's kind of what it does to us. And depending on where it is in your chart, you'll be having a lot of reflection there. Another important thing that happens is that we move into the astrological new year, which is the spring equinox. It's the 19th of March. And so we move into this, Aries is fire, and it's the inspiration and the inspired action. It's kind of letting life be new. I said in the new moon video that I did that one of the things we have to do while the sun is in Pisces is wrap up loose ends, wrap up the unwrappable, the stuff that can't be resolved. Sometimes somebody passes away and you can't resolve things with them anymore. So then you have to resolve what your mind is thinking and what your memories are about that person. And When the sun moves into Aries, it's like a reset that we get for the year. And if you think back, astrology works with nature in that the time, the moment when um, the little plant shoots are ready to, sprout up is the time that we're ready to plant new seeds and we're ready to show up in the world in a different way. So we have that coming up this month. That's something to look forward to. We also, however, a couple days after that, Saturn, which is this planet of structure and restructuring, and sometimes the limitations we have when we have to restructure a part of our lives, that moves into Aquarius. So for anyone, any of the fixed signs are going to feel it, especially around the beginning degrees, and especially anyone with Aquarius will feel this seriousness and the sobering energy. It'll be really interesting to feel that different energy. And the other thing I wanted to say that's really pretty interesting, if you look at the Saturn moving into Aquarius, is that we're going to finish the Mercury retrograde in Aquarius. How is this different? Aquarius is an air sign, and it likes to solve problems, because it's ruled by Saturn. And so, Aquarius and Uranus. So often it will problem solve in innovative new ways. Like, how could I think of this differently? It's funny because the other night I was thinking of a problem as I was going to sleep, and I was thinking of it just in one way. Like, this is this, and I know that it is. And then, when I woke up, it's almost like I had been like with the dream team overnight. And I woke up and I really realized that I saw it as a problem just because of my point of view. It wasn't necessarily a problem. It was actually not a problem. And I've had a lot of those during this Mercury retrograde where I've literally changed my mind and my whole perception of something has changed. And so the other thing that I'm really getting about the Mercury retrograde in Aquarius before it turns direct on the, I think, 9th or 10th of the month, is that we may be reaching into networks, changing how we work with networks, how we network, because, and Saturn moving into Aquarius may be restructuring how we view our networks of people, our communities, who are our support people, who are not, who's fading out, who's running away out of who's like dripping like the ice, dripping out, transforming, changing into something else. And so you may be looking at your networks and just with a serious eye, because Saturn is very serious wherever it lands. It wants to seriously build something new. It wants to critically eye and see the limitations in any structure that we've created. So it may be in our networks. The other thing we have early in the month is we have Venus moving into a much more comfortable place, which is Taurus. Taurus is earthy, it likes good food, it likes back rubs, it likes warm baths, it likes cuddles, it likes things that are soothing to the body, and the understanding that life is no good without a body that feels good. That is Venus in Taurus, and it values fine things, not flash in the pan ideas or cheap things. It likes fine things. And so we may find kind of a bit of salve on our wounds as we get that Venus moving into Taurus. It may help us feel more settled about money issues, more settled. It's almost a little tricky because right now Uranus is traveling through Taurus, which makes everything changeable, very changeable. Hello, stock market changing. Hello, everything. And it's so interesting that during this whole Mercury retrograde, we've had the scare around the coronavirus. And, I think that it's just very Neptunian. You know, it's sort of being afraid of this thing that we can't see, but we can see the results of it, and not being sure. It's murky, all the information around it. How careful do we need to be? Is it here? Is it there? How bad is it? You know, we're not sure about some of the information that we're getting from China. And again, that Mercury moving into Aquarius is really about checking out different platforms, different networks, different sources for your information. Where can you get information that will really help you understand the situation better? Something that has to do with your well-being and how you're doing. So I'm going to draw a few cards for us for March. This is a general reading. If you would like a more specific and personal reading, I do clearings and I do readings. I work with your astrology. I do straight psychic readings if you would like. So I do all that stuff. Okay. These are not tarot cards, by the way. This is a crystal deck that I recently unearthed. Joy and gratitude. I think we're happy that we're going to get the sun in Aries. Isn't that lovely? And one of the things that this is telling me is that joy and gratitude actually creates a field, and it creates things coming into that field. And it creates a shift in your perspective too. So this month, look into joy and gratitude as actually, I love that this is round. I know it's the yin yang, but for me, it looks like a planet. So it will be healing to the planet and us the more we can. It's funny, I have in my mind, go alkaline, get out of the acidic. It's like the acidic, like our bodies get sick when we are acidic, you know, and then the viruses can come in and they can kind of sabotage everything. But we are whole when we are in this vibration of appreciation and pure love. I mean, honestly, when we leave this plane, what do we have but love? The love that we created and left behind and carry with us. Everything else is transient. Balance. This is a fire card. And one of the things I like about this is it's kind of reminding me about the sun moving in to the spring equinox and moving into Aries and saying, you know, Aries, I love Aries because it has this sort of simplistic, simple, dynamic, like, I want this and I'm going to go get it. I'm in the mood for coffee. I want this. You know, it's just this. It's the infant. It just comes from this pure place of this is what I want and this is what's right for me. And that one of the things we're moving out of with the Pisces energy is this murky, is this mine? Is it yours? Do I need to take care of this person? Do I need to pay attention to this person? What makes me a good or bad person? Aries doesn't ask that. And so we may need a balance right now in March. We may need to balance our self-sacrificing tendencies as we move out of the Pisces season into the Aries season and have a little bit more self-presence. Like, this is myself and this is what this self wants. And let's draw one more here. Do I want? I'll take this one. Creation. Yeah. This one speaks for itself. One thing this is telling me, though, is right now is not a good time to look out in the world and get Twitter-pated in the reflection of that world. Get all riled up and stirred up and upset by something you think is going on out there. This is a time to create from within. So how this could work is, you know, I don't know, you read the news, read an article, something, and it upsets you. Turn around and create something that does not upset you. You know, turn around and look, not only that, also look at everything you're creating that's in your environment and say, you know, Venus and Taurus. Yes, this is my, this is what I value, and I'm going to keep creating from that. I'm going to create from what I value. I'm not going to get all freaked out about what other people are talking about. I don't have any other notes on that. I'm trying to keep this a little bit shorter because I've been going way too long on these videos. Way too long for you, way too long for me. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm just going to pull us a self-care card just for fun, just because I just got these out. And retreat. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? These are Cheryl Richardson's. It says, listen to the voice of your soul. Take a mini retreat. Remember that it's going to take a while for things, well, I mean, I can't even promise things are going to feel clean and clear at any given moment, but as we move into spring, spring is like a really messy time because like the snow melts and then it's muddy and mucky, and it's gradual. Like it's the messiest time of year, I think. It's the least attractive outside. Like you have your mud room and you have to take your boots off, and that's just kind of the way that it is. And so don't, you know, it's okay to love the mess a little. It's okay to recognize it's messy, and it's okay. It's okay if things get a little messy in the springtime and in March, you know. Just, you know, trust your instincts that when you're ready to move forward on something, when something feels like a yes, you'll know. And I think it was actually Cheryl Richardson who said, if it's not an absolute yes, then it's a no. And that is an Aries concept, like yes or no. I want this, I do not want this. This makes me feel good, this does not make me feel good. This passes the test, this does not pass the test. Does that make sense? So thank you so much for watching. If you would like a reading with me, I'll put the links below as always. And I'm always here for conversation too. So, you know, speak to me on Facebook if you want, on my page. And yeah, take care of yourself this month and have a wonderful March. I'll see you next time.